Welcome to Business Mastery with Dawn Kennedy, your quick under 45-minute dose of expert insights and strategies to make a positive impact on your business and life. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Business Mastery Podcast. So we're going to be talking about outsourcing, AI, customer service, how to take care of people, what consumers are saying, and what maybe you should put in your business. So I have Adam here, an expert in this topic of outsourcing, and we're going to talk all about it. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Don. Great to be here.
Can you tell everyone? Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Can you tell everyone who you are and who you serve?
Yeah, I'm the Chief Commercial Officer at Gear Inc. at the moment. We serve all different kinds of businesses. We cover 26 different countries and 75 different languages all around the world. So,
All right, amazing. So when we were first talking about this, one of the things we were talking about is how many companies have run to AI for customer service specifically, not just a chatbot that says, can I connect you to a live person? Even that, I think, is starting to rub consumers the wrong way.
yeah.
But yeah, let's talk a little bit about what you've seen, with businesses using chatbots and AI instead of actually having live humans and what you're seeing that do to businesses.
Yeah, I mean, obviously AI is everywhere. If you talk to any business at the moment, everybody wants to implement AI within their business because it's the new buzzword. They're scared it's going to be like the website evolution where everybody needed a website.
Right.
But what we're seeing happening is a lot of businesses are running before they can walk. So they're putting AI in on broken systems. They're throwing AI in to try and fix things that need fixing before you implement the AI. And I don't know about you, Dawn, but I probably get between 25 and 50 AI generated emails every day with outreach and trying to get me to buy things and things. And it's very easy to spot the AI compared to a human led sort of sales interaction at the moment. And we're hearing from our customers, from people just in general, that it's frustrating. And the one thing that AI doesn't have is a soul. It doesn't have feeling. It doesn't have empathy. And a lot of time in customer service, you need to understand where the customer's coming from and what's happening. And the frustration that I see with end users and customers is AI doesn't understand what I'm trying to do here. It's trying to send me around the block and not get into the real root cause of what's happening. So I think there's definitely a place for AI. I'm a big believer in AI, but I think there has to be a very sort of defined role for AI within the customer service way. The chatbots are great. They help you get to information that you need, but the escalation path from that chatbot needs to be to somebody who can solve your issue. And I think if companies are using just AI as their customer service, I think you're seeing a much lower customer satisfaction rate than if they're using humans as well.
Right. And I think that was kind of part of our conversation is people want to it's an interesting thing because the customer expectation anymore after years and years of being on the web is you'll respond to me within 2 hours or you'll respond to me within 10 minutes or whatever. So there's this expectation for immediate response that is largely based on what the internet has evolved into now, and people don't necessarily have the patience to wait for a call back in 24 hours. I think we can all kind of agree that that's sort of gone the way by where people are like, they're not calling me back till tomorrow. That's a frustration point. But to your point, the AI can only go to what it's programmed to do, and it's unable to kind of parse out or dice out what maybe a real human being needs. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's definitely needs and uses for AI. It can get the information for somebody um, really quickly. If you've got a person typing into a chatbot on the end or infrastructure that gives you the answers really quickly, it can solve issues a lot quicker than a human can in a lot of instances. But the customer facing aspect of it is the bit that really, I think at the moment we're not quite there to where we need to be. I mean, the evolution, I don't know if you've heard some of the voice bots and things now that can switch in different languages while you're talking to them. The technology is amazing, but again, empathy within customer service especially is so important, and understanding why the customer is upset, and doing all you can to fix that. So I think, you know, we're not quite at the point where AI can do all of these things and understand. And I don't know when we'll get there. It's an amazing tool and it really elevates people, but again, I feel that everybody's rushing to get onto the bandwagon without actually thinking it through properly and what it does. I mean, so, we've seen some companies over in Europe that have gone fully into AI with their customer service and released all of their customer service team. And the customer satisfaction score dropped so far that they had to go and hire those same people back, probably at a higher salary after what had happened, to actually try and fix the customer satisfaction score. So we're not at the place yet where you can fully outsource the customer service to AI and chatbots, because your customer satisfaction is going to tank. People are going to leave your brand to go somewhere where they can actually speak to a human at the moment. But again, using AI to get quicker answers, better answers, making sure that you're channeling people in the right way is the right way to do it. So
Right. I mean, I can see it. You go into the chat box, and do you have a question? And then you ask if something's in stock, or you ask if the price has changed. I mean, the AI is going to be faster than the human, right? I mean, you could
exactly.
say that. At that point, though, people have already kind of decided to do business with you. So I don't think that's kind of an issue when they're using the AI on your platform. They're obviously interested in your business and what you're doing. Uh,
Yeah, but you can. So, sorry, Don. You can lose customers that way though, even if they're still your customer. I mean, if they've got an issue, for example, if you're selling a product, or let's use the internet for an example. If you've got an internet provider, your internet's down. If you can't get the answers and you can't get to the person you need to, you're going to go to somebody who can get you those answers quickly, fix it, and you feel like you're worth something. Whereas if you push everything over to the AI, it doesn't solve it. You feel a little bit, well, I want to give my custom to somebody who will care about me and look after me. So I do think that there's both sides of it. Yes, if they've already bought your product, they can they have some brand sort of recognition, and you have a little bit more to play with. But if they then treat it badly, people's loyalty these days isn't as strong as it used to be. So you have to play very carefully, I think.
that is very true. I think people are much faster switching brands than maybe they did in the past. Can we talk a little bit about that? What is your experience with people, not
Well,
hanging out and
it,
being as
we
loyal?
yeah, we could talk about the whole thing. I mean, when you're selling, and I've been selling for a long time, a lot longer than I like to admit. But when you're selling nowadays, when the customer comes to you, they already know everything that you know. You're not really, because of the internet and the way things have gone. They've already done the research. They know everything they can from websites. They've read all of your reviews on Trustpilot, wherever it may be. So they're coming in informed, a lot more informed than they were 20 years ago. So when you get to that point, it's also everything about the competitors as well. So if your brand falls below what someone's experiencing somewhere else, the loyalty is not there as much anymore. I mean, you see it with airlines, with everything, internet providers, um, all sorts of different kind of products that come out. You already know what you're getting compared to all of the competitors and what they're selling and what their biggest points are. So it's very telling that you should be able to review what everybody else is doing within your industry, so you know where your pain points are or where your advantages are, but also looking at ways that you can um, expedite any issues to fix those. Make sure that you're looking after the customers and getting feedback from the customers. And I'm not talking about sending them a survey every time they buy something, because everybody's had enough of those as well. But just understanding what the issues are, how you can improve, constantly improving, and trying to build that loyalty in a way that nowadays isn't just, I bought a great car from this person, I'm going to stay with him for the rest of my life. People move around, the offers, the all of those kind of things. So it's important to make sure that you're keeping up with the trends and what's happening, not just in your own business and the reviews, but also with your competitors, and see where they're excelling, and possibly there's some opportunity there for you. So
Right. That's a really good point that they already know so much more when they come to approach you than maybe they did in the past. And I think a lot of that has to do with the push over the last number of years in like content marketing and educating your audience, right? Would you agree?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree.
All right. So then let's switch over to this idea of outsourcing this customer service, this escalation and all these things. And just to point out that all of that customer education, I would say, transfers over to the human who can support them. So let's talk a little bit kind of about that because I do believe there is some toleration still for a human to interact even on chat, not just on the phone. So I want to talk about kind of all of these ways that I think we still have consumer tolerances for that outsourcing not only makes a whole lot of sense, you can cover more time zones and things like that, depending on the type of business that you are. So, are you okay? So we kind of dive in with that. But I really do want to take it from the customer perspective as well as the business perspective because
Yeah. Yeah.
we want to make sure that we're like painting the whole picture. We're
Sure.
not
For
here
sure.
saying this is the only way. It's just have you considered this in your business, right?
Absolutely. And there are different ways. I mean, outsourcing. If you think about outsourcing, outsourcing has this big scary word, and
It
it
does.
people think that you're going to some sweatshop somewhere in the Far East and people being paid less than $1 a day and things like this, but it's not the case. If you have a look, if you send letters, you're outsourcing that sending the letter with or the post office. You're outsourcing things every day. So there's negative connotations around it. However, where we found a lot of traction is I've been working in the outsourcing industry now for about 16 years, and finding world-class talent wherever it may be in the world and helping that to propel your business to where it needs to be is something that I'm an advocate for. Obviously, with AI and everything coming in, and before that, even just you know, as we're on Zoom at the moment with the video kind of interactions that you can have now, it's not like you're taking your whole business. You don't know these people on the other end of the phone. You're entrusting your business to people that you don't know. You can actually speak to them. They can be part of your office. When COVID came along, it was a terrible, terrible thing. But what it made a lot of businesses do is to be able to work remotely, even for a short period of time. Once you've once you've figured out how you can work remotely, then what's the next logical step? If you could work remotely with people, why not find the best cost to output ratio that you can wherever that may be and have those people working for you and find the talent because in a lot of industries at the moment, talent is scarce and hard to find. There's a lot of noise within the industry, so there's a lot of people looking for jobs, but the actual real talent might not be in your local hub, as it were. It may be, somewhere in the Caribbean, it may be somewhere in the Far East, it may be somewhere in Europe, it could be anywhere. So and with that, as you touched upon before, you're able to extend your office hours. So some of the best engagements that I've had have been with people such as lawyers, accountants, and they will find staff over in Asia who will continue working. So their whole practice is running for 24 by 7. They're only doing their well, they wish it was only 9 hours a day, but they're only doing their normal work days. And then the the work's done overnight. When they wake up in the morning and it's all ready to go, which improves their speed, it improves their customer satisfaction, and it makes sure that everybody's doing everything that they can. So I feel like a blend of local, because you need your local brand, you need your local people. You don't want your local people spending 6 hours out their 8-hour workday doing admin tasks when you're paying them a high salary. Use that either AI or offshore staff to help you to reduce that cost and free up the people within your local business to be able to go and earn the money and do the things that they want to do rather than all of that admin work. So I think the combination of local, outsourced, and AI is definitely the way forward, and it makes a lot of business sense.
It does. And, I want to point out also, because this was pointed out to me a couple of weeks ago, that are operating as small businesses, we're in the market complexity just as much as enterprise businesses are, right? The expectation of the consumer, I'm just gonna keep going back to that expectation of the consumer because I had an interesting conversation with someone where regionally, maybe you're still in an area of the world where people wanna do things in person. But if you are a global company and you are actually not meeting the customer expectations in other places, you not only could be losing business, but, you could get a bad reputation. And especially on the customer service front, I mean, we probably need to talk a little bit about those customer service reviews that are not so great. So the Yelps and all the things and how people now can weaponize those types of,
Yeah.
those types of feedback and those kinds of things and really, really injure businesses. I mean, there's
Uh,
constant drama, I think, across platforms where somebody gets mad at someone and they, go do things. Can we talk a little bit about how outsourcing customer service can kind of help mitigate those types of things?
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to the frustration the customers feel, a lot of the time when people are going online, apart from trolls, because you sometimes get trolls, but
Right. Yeah, we're not talking.
but no, but most of the time it's through frustration, not getting what they're asking for, not getting the love from the business to that they feel that they should from a customer standpoint. So there's two things that we do with customers. Obviously, we do the outsourced customer service, so we'll take the calls, the chats, the emails. We'll deal with all of those kind of things. But we also do reviews of the Yelps, of the Trust Pilots, of all of those things, to make sure that we're keeping up to date all the time and informing the businesses of, hey, this and this has come up. What happened here? Can we fix this? And making sure that you're keeping those scores up. You're never going to please all of the people all the time, no matter if you keep customer service just to the founder. It's just part of running a business. But what you can do is make sure that you deal with any issues that come up in a timely and respectable manner, which actually can lead to more brand loyalty that we were talking about before, because they're seeing that you're trying and you're doing everything. So combining all of those kind of things, and you can use AI functions to actually continue to look at what's happening. You can use the AI then to put in your advocates. So they're your next customers that you should be targeting within your business, because these guys are really happy with what you're doing. So it actually helps through the whole sales cycle. And I've been building systems like that recently. So yeah.
Very cool. All right. So, I mean, I love this. Let's talk about the technicality parts of finding your outsourced talent and then again carrying over. I think there's a lot of hesitation, sort of like copywriting at first, where people are like, "Do you know my brand voice? Can you sound like me?" And then you get over it because you realize that these are very talented people and they can definitely sound like
Absolutely.
you, right? So I think there's still that resistance as well to outsourcing. It's like, well, if I let, somebody else take over chatting, or if I let them take over something else, and I just, if I hand them a handbook, is that enough? Like, let's talk about what it really means to outsource and create a customer service or an admin. I think I'm more concerned though in our conversation because we did focus so much on customer service when we were planning this episode talking about, the resistance to the business in getting outsourced customer service stuff. I think there still is quite a bit of resistance.
Absolutely. And let me start from the start, and we'll get to where you need to be. So there's a lot of resistance still. It's moved very far. If I look globally, I think Australasia and New Zealand around there, they're probably the most advanced when it comes to outsourcing from the business point of view. The US is probably in second place, and Europe's a little bit behind. One of the biggest obstacles has always been, are the accents not right? They won't talk in my language, like in the same language that I use, and I don't mean English. I mean just in the voice of the brand. Um, but I've found through my years of doing it, I've actually seen brand voice transfer from the employees that are within the business over to the outsourced people, and they've actually stayed longer. The longevity of some of the engagements has been tremendous in terms of knowledge transfer. But you need some. you need some rules at the beginning. So for years and years, the big enterprises, the big boys were outsourcing to all of these low cost destinations, reaping the benefits of it. But the SME market were really struggling to be found in that. In the last 10, 15 years, that's shifted, and the same opportunities are available. And forward thinking people have embraced it, and some of the others have been scared, as you say, because of brand red, brand damage. What's going to happen to my customers? My customers aren't going to be happy picking up the phone and hearing somebody with a Philippine accent rather than an American accent. But one of the questions I ask everybody is, do you not have Filipino people within the United States that have a Filipino accent? Are they not allowed to work for your business? And of course they do. It is the same in the UK where I'm from. We have a multicultural kind of society now. So accent, as long as people can understand and do everything, I think it's mitigated by the fact that they really care and are passionate about your brand. They want to make sure that you are happy as the customer. And over time, they are associated with your brand, and it's their reputation on the line as well as yours. Setting up standard operating practices, standing up how you deal with certain situations, and making sure that they're all told at the beginning of the engagement. Make sure that it's a good engagement. Excuse me. What I would suggest is, don't just take your function, give it to an outsourcing company and expect it to run perfectly. You still have to have control. You still have to be the person who's looking after the whole brand image. So I wouldn't take my son who's 5 weeks old and give him to somebody who I'd never done any research on and say, yeah, you look after him now. And a lot of businesses are your babies as well. So when you take and you select a partner, do your research, have a look at all of the reviews, make sure that people are happy, make sure that the staff are happy working within that business as well, because that's really important. A happy staff member will project your image a lot better than somebody who's feeling not very good. Make sure that you're getting weekly cadences. Make sure you've got calls, video calls like this. So it's not just a name on a piece of paper. It's somebody else. It's somebody who you can interact with and know. And make sure that they understand how much the business is important to you and how much your customers are important to you and what they can do in terms of escalating things, in terms of solving issues at the time. And all you're doing is employing somebody else. It's just that they're a little bit further away than the person sitting next to you at the desk. Go through the same things, make sure that they're understanding. And in this day and age, you can even set up a video link like this for the whole duration of their shift, if that's what you choose to do, to make sure that they're part of your inner network as well. So there's lots and lots of things that we can do to make sure that those people are part of your brand and to protect your brand and moving on. So I think if we look at it from that point of view, it doesn't make sense. I think that we should be elevating people who are within the company locally to be doing the roles that they're brought in to do, and make sure that the guys who you bring in from around the world are there to help you do that and to get value for money from all of the employees.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So we covered the benefits of having the customer service. And to your point, escalation plans, who supervisors are, right. That would be no different if somebody was sitting next to me
Exactly.
giving customer service. So I get that. Okay. So interestingly, though, you were talking also about VAs and about some of the back office stuff that even, I guess, law practices, accounting,
Everybody, yeah,
and those kinds of people are those kinds of industries, I guess I should say. Obviously, that's not going to work well, maybe for a local bakery or restaurant,
sure.
because most of that stuff is truly local and customer facing. But you said that it's expanding across industries, that work is getting done overnight. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, so if we look at, I'll give you the best example that I had. I had a very large American law firm, American accounting firm, who were quite scared to outsource some of their work. What was it going to do? And they revolutionized even my thinking on how to do this. They went when a lot of companies were trying to hide the fact that they were getting staff from offshore because they thought it would impact brand. They went completely the other way. They put it all over their website. They told everybody, and what they said was, you can have a local accountant, and it's going to cost you $50 an hour, or we can have it done over in the Philippines, and it's going to cost you $12 an hour, and it will turn around a lot quicker. And they really expanded my thinking. I learned from them, because what happened was, some people would come along and say, "Listen, I really need this done by an American accountant, and I need that done by X date. But this stuff I can have done over in the Philippines because it's not so thing, and that's going to save me money, and it's going to be quicker." And blending those two um, made the accounts get done a lot quicker, because you've got double the workforce, and you can do that, and B, it improved customer satisfaction, because you were able to turn around things, cut costs, do all of these things, and pass that on to the customer. So another thing that I've seen happen is, if you're in an industry where it's a typical sort of 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 kind of job, if you employ somebody, um, maybe over in Asia, maybe Latin America, wherever it may be, and they man your phones after hours, you're able to answer questions quicker, resolve issues quicker. You're not just leaving a voicemail and hoping that somebody gets back to you, and that improves customer satisfaction as well. And although there's an additional cost associated with that, the buyback is that you've got loyalty from customers, and they spend more with you. So it's weighing up all of these different things, and it's not right for every business, Dawn. Some businesses don't need that kind of work, other businesses do. Another engagement we had was with real estate customers. They would go out and they would do all of their inspections and all of these kind of things. They would send over the transcripts to the guys in the Philippines. They would type those all up overnight,
Right.
and then it would come back to them in the morning all ready to go. They would just scan it, make sure everything was good, and then it's good to go. So lots of different industries, there's lots of different ways that you can use it to improve your service and your business, compared to some of your competitors, which will get you bigger bucks yourself. So
Right. All right. So let's attack the other elephant in the room. There are going to be people who are
sure.
listening who are like, $50 an hour for an American accountant, maybe more, maybe less, right?
Maybe more. Yeah,
What,
yeah, yeah.
$12, right? So, and by the way, just so everybody knows, there are chartered accountants and CPAs and stuff across every single country in the world. So we're going to say that America's CPAs, but I myself have worked with chartered accountants from the UK. I know some, I know
Yep.
forensic accountants from places around the world. So accounting is something that is pretty universal. And for that reason, I do want to take this example and talk about, well, $12 an hour in the Philippines. What kind of money is that? I mean, that is more than, you know,
Yep. Yeah, yeah. And I appreciate that as a question. So, um, if I could put it into some context, and the pricing's changed a little bit now. The example I was giving you was maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Sure.
But just to give you an example, when I went into the BPO outsourcing industry, the the most amount of applicants I got were from nurses, because the salary that you would get in a BPO or offshore scenario was about 4 or 5 times as much as you would get from working as a nurse within the company. The Philippines has a big nursing community. A lot of them go to all around the world. We have lots of Filipino nurses within the UK and Europe, because they go over there to earn the money. But some of them obviously have family commitments and don't want to do that, and they can work within call centers to earn 4 times as much. So people still want to be nurses, but in terms of the type of living that they can earn as a employee, it made more sense for them to go to a BPO. And while you're only paying them $12 an hour, it's still 4 times more than what they would get if they were working in a local business. So there's I know that it can seem too low, and anybody, I've seen it myself on LinkedIn and on some other things, where they're saying, "Oh, I only pay $5 an hour for my VA," and things. That's not the right thing to do. You shouldn't be exploiting people. I think the outsourcing industry has come a long way, but there are still fly by night guys who just care about profits. They don't care about people. So what I would strongly suggest, recommend, and hope is that if you're ever looking to do it, you would look into the business and make sure that they're looking after their staff and they're doing everything correctly. There was a story last week or the week before. Sorry, all my weeks are rolling into one with a newborn.
He's a newborn. I can't even believe you're on this podcast this morning. Like, I mean, holy moly. I
But
appreciate
there was
you.
no, thank you. There was an earthquake in Cebu in the Philippines, and most outsourcing firms who were down there looked after all of their staff, but there were a couple that actually sent their staff back into the building before it was declared safe. There were a couple that didn't allow the staff to actually leave during the earthquake itself as well. So those kind of people don't do business with, then they don't care about the staff. You don't want to be associated with those kind of people. You want to know that the staff that you're employing, whether it be in America, whether it be in the Philippines, whether it be in India, LATAM, are looked after like you would look after your staff at home. So make sure you look after your brand. Make sure that you look into who you're going into business with. That would be my strong recommendation.
Right. Yeah. Completely understand it. I appreciate it. I like to address the elephant in the room because I never want us, to have this perception of we're always chasing profit. We're chasing better service. We're chasing more competitive edge. We're chasing,
Yeah,
being able to say, okay, we turn off our phones at, I mean, even on, let's say, the West Coast, it could be 3 o'clock in LA, it's 6 o'clock, but it's overnight, right? So by
yeah,
the time you put this all together, you could be doing global business if that was what your industry was. But really, it is all about taking care of the people that you hire
absolutely.
and taking care of your customers. Because if we want to make the argument, going to AI and spending your, I don't know, what is it, maybe $30 a month for the bot, I think that's about what they're running now, maybe $20, $30 a month for a bot. Um, and not and having no customer retention and not having people sold out to your brand. And then maybe having to pay, let's say, I don't know, 10 times that, paying 300 and
Yeah,
having somebody who's part-time and maybe they only cover weekends. Because you don't have to hire full time, right? I mean, you can have,
correct.
yeah, people who just cover the weekends, but you retain, 90% of the customers who complain because you made that little bit of an investment. I really think the cost benefit analysis easily weighs out. And I think that there's a comfort from the business side that our customers will be covered. There is a weekend
Yeah,
phone number. There is somebody to talk to. Um, and they're going to make sure that our clients are handled. You were saying that long engagements with people who are outsourced. I mean, what are we talking? So the turnover is very low. Is that typically
in
because
terms
figured out sort of how to put it all together now? Is that what it was?
there's the it depends on the roles that the people are doing. So in call centers, typically the turnover can be quite high because the monotonous task, the people shouting constantly in the phone, depending on what account they're working on and things like that.
Yeah.
But you can, especially for small to medium businesses where they're using the offshore model to employ people within their business to do certain roles, whether that be accountancy, whether it be VA, back office, all of those kind of things, even sort of website design and things like that. They tend to stay because they associate their job with you. And they're part of your team. So I've seen different business owners just want a name on a screen and the work to come through. And those types of engagements never last very long.
Right.
They're not fully engaged. But then I've seen people basically treat the staff members like a long lost family member. And I mean, even looking back now, there's some people that have been engaged to the same customer for over 15 years that I'm aware of. So, and that tells you, yeah, yeah, and they're still going strong now, and they probably know more about the outsourcing industry than I do with with how they've been working. So, but it's fantastic to see, and I've seen offshore teams help to scale and then sell a business and help with an exit. I've seen offshore teams really provide warmth and comfort to people with different kinds of needs in terms of what they're doing. And again, I think the evolution into the AI space allows both the people on the ground in your hometown, in your business, but also the people that you're offshoring to do a much better, faster job and Brits promote their knowledge, their responses, everything. So if you blend all of those together, I think that that's where we are as a business and as a world at the moment. So
Yeah, incredible. So, can you tell everyone how they can find you and your agency?
sure.
Where they can now remember he has a newborn. He has a newborn.
Yeah, that's right.
So hit him up on
Which
LinkedIn, right? So
Which it because I've got a newborn daughter, it means I'm running about 24/7 at the moment, so I hardly ever sleep, and people could reach out whenever they like. So, but yeah, if you want to find me, you can find me on LinkedIn, Adam O'Connor. You can find me there, and then also www.gearinc.com. That's GEARINC.com. That's the company I'm currently working for, and I'd be happy to talk to anyone who wants to know.
amazing. All right. So we'll put that down in the descriptions and the show notes. And if you find us, on the day we launch, you'll probably be able to find McGarry. If it's 5 years later, I don't know, they'll hit you up on LinkedIn, right?
That's it. No problem.
Well, this was a great conversation. Thank you for answering the tough questions. And I love the fact that you're so sensitive to all parties involved here. And to your point, ethical good business looks very similar around the world, and not good business is pretty easy to spot, I would say.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. But thanks, Don. It's been really good. Really appreciate the conversation.
Yes, I've enjoyed it too. All right, we'll talk to y'all next time on the next episode of the Business Mastery Podcast. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Business Mastery Podcast. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to DawnKKennedy.com, and you can now check us out on YouTube, as well as, of course, any of your favorite platforms that host podcasts. Take care.